Alright, here we go. Episode 9 of our Bloodborne series, where we're going to be painting the male beast patients. We're going to be using some very simple techniques. We're going to go for a minimalist approach on these miniatures, as the card art is very just bleh. So, whatever. If this is your first time at the channel, and you are learning how to paint, or want to paint how I guess I want to paint, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, hit that like button. Let's go. Let's make this channel a little bit better. We have a bunch of more board games coming up. But without further ado, let's go. The first thing we're going to be doing is scraping off some of these nasty mold lines. Now, if you're looking at these miniatures, you can probably tell that the mold lines are in some real crap areas. The heavy fur areas, they just look like trash. So scrape them off the best you can. When you prime it, you won't notice it, I promise. For any of the supplies I use, I have the links in my comments below if you want to check them out and get your own stuff. First thing I'm doing is hitting these all with a primer black. If you're using spray paint, hit it all with spray paint. And then after this, we're going to hit it from directly above using some white spray paint, or in my instance, I used white from my airbrush just to kind of breeze through it. With the zenithal highlighting complete and dry, we're going to use our first base tone, which is a Rhinex hide. Now, I slapped this over the entire miniature. I did not have any regard to anything else on the miniature. And if you get it in certain places, like where the robes are at stuff, who cares? It doesn't really matter. We're going to paint over it anyway. I use a large, this is actually a shade brush, to get over this as quickly as possible. I try to get through these quick, so I used a large brush for this. And as we continue to go around them, I'm just hitting everything we got. I'm trying not to hit the robes, but if I do, it's whatever. Who cares? We're going to be doing a series of dry brushing, and we're going to use Dawnstone for our first dry brush. I have the Dawnstone dry from Citadel, but if you have the regular kind, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you get most of it off your brush. And we are going over pretty heavily the entire miniature, and it's going to catch on all the fur sticking up. I wanted to do this method compared to painting the fur individually, because that would take forever. And hey, we're just trying to get this on the board game table. We want it to look good while we're playing it, have that extra little, magic while we're playing the board game, and make it a little bit better for everybody. Our second dry brush is going to be a little Naggoth Night. Now, you can tell when you're looking at the card art, there is hints of purple in there, and we're going to kind of exasperate that just a little bit more once we get to the shading portion of our miniature. And as we're hitting this, we're going over pretty medium brush, maybe a little bit light on the light side while we're hitting it. And if we get it on the robes, not a big deal. If we get it on anywhere, it's not a big deal. Just we want to hit the fur of our miniature. For the final dry brush, we're going to be using a little Longbeard Grey. This is a specific dry paint from Citadel, and we're using this real lightly. Make sure you're getting it all off your dry brush, so there's just a minimal amount on there, and we are just barely hitting the fur on that miniature and making it just look just a little bit of some white. Maybe like this beast has some age to it. Maybe he's married and he's stressed out. He has kids. He's got a mortgage. He went through the pandemic. We don't know. But he's just a little stressed out. Now for the most tedious part of this miniature, we are going to paint the robes. Now this is a pain in the butt because you got to do 4 of them, and this is their only real painting we're going to be doing on the entire thing. So this is going to take the longest amount of time. But we're going to be going through, and as if you can tell, I'm sure you can, that all that dry brushing has really made that robes of our miniature really stand out. And that's good because that's what we want. We can be able to pick out which robes are where on the miniature, and we're just going over and painting them as we see them. Now, obviously, when you're painting this, you might say, well, this is really bright compared to my other colors. So we're going to dumb this down here pretty quick. And we're just really going to make it just look nasty, old. Kind of how the theme of Bloodborne is anyway. It's a very grungy, dirty-looking game. Not saying that in a negative way, just the art style is very just grungy, I guess you could say. And as we're finishing up our miniature, painting these robes, just make sure you don't miss anything. And if you need to go back, just take a second look over all of them. The last base coat we're going to be doing is some Wraithbone. If you don't have this, you can use Ushabti Bone, you can use Rykhoth Flesh to start it out, anything like that. And we're going to be doing the teeth, be very careful, and our nails, our sharp claws for our miniature. Now we're going to create our wash. First thing we're going to be doing is about 2 to 3 brushfuls of Druchi Violet, mixed with about 3 to 4, maybe 5 brushfuls of Agrax Earthshade. Make sure you're making enough to do all 4 miniatures. And then 1 to 2 brushfuls of our Nulin Oil. And we're going to cover this entire miniature with this wash. Do not worry about skipping anything. Just get it all on there. Now we're going to re-highlight our robes, and we're going to be very selective of what we paint on our miniature. We obviously do not want to get any of our Celestra Grey into the recesses of what we've already painted over with our wash. We want to kind of pick out little pieces here and there, the raised areas, surfaces that the sun would catch the most. Not that there is any sun in Bloodborne, but you get the picture. And we're just going through and picking out certain parts, not doing the entire thing all over again, just kind of making it some highlights. And while you're doing this, you got to think of the term less is more. The less you do on this, probably the better it's going to look in the long term. You don't want to go over the top with the highlights because we're not doing much highlights else after this. That's about it. And as we're finishing up with the highlights of our robes, You can go back over the teeth if you want with a little Wraithbone, or you can use some Ushabti Bone or Screaming Skull. I'm going to darken up those eyes just a little bit with a little Abbadon Black, and while I have the Abbadon Black out, I might as well just paint the base, and we're done. That's it. I told you, quick and easy, super simple. And that's it. That's all we have. That's pretty good. I should probably stop filming these in the daylight while I'm watching this rotate. It doesn't look very good. Probably should wait till it's dark. But I just want to say thank you for watching this episode and the past episodes I've done of Bloodborne, or if you've watched our Gloomhaven series or anything else up. We have a ton coming up, and I hope that you stick around. I hope you subscribe to those channels, or to this channel, and you continually watch these videos. Leave a comment below, give me a thumbs up, hit that bell button so that way I know that you like these videos and you appreciate them. All right, until next time, paint on.